G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time in Australia. And yeah, this is the third YouTube video I've made today. Both the previous YouTube videos were pretty good ones, but I didn't upload them. So I'm going to tell the story of them, right? There's times when you can go and make a perfectly reasonable movie for the frame of mind that you're in at the time that you make the video. And the video may be useful, you may even show it to somebody, but maybe it's not right to upload it. Yesterday I posted a video, today I deleted the video because, yeah, Laura Leela was right, you know, it was a silly idea to stick that up there, so I pulled it down. Yeah, some people saw it. Some people probably downloaded it. No doubt it's out there. I didn't tell any lies in the video, but I was drunk and I was angry. And I was a bit vindictive because the person who asked the question that I was trying to answer, they'd asked their question on a comment thread of mine. And when I attempted to answer their comment, I discovered that I was blocked. So my only recourse to answer their nefarious assertion was to make a video. And I happened to be pretty drunk at the time. I mean, what's been going on in my life for anybody who hasn't been paying attention is that my youngest child has decided to fly 11,000 miles around to the other side of the world to visit her maternal grandmother. And she got there. Okay? So, Yahoo Yippee Warbles on a lot is pretty bloody happy. My daughter has been reunited with her grandmother in Duisburg. There was some worrying interludes. Dusseldorf Airport had her beaten for about an hour because she didn't know what to do or where to go. And then she found an American who was equally lost, and between themselves they found their way to the train station. Abu Dhabi was okay, but I got a text. They have these things called international SIM cards. And the airliners are set up so that your text messages on the international SIM cards will work while you're on the airliner. So even when, you know, you're in cattle class like she was, from Sydney to Abu Dhabi, I was getting texts telling me how she was going. I got a text at 6:30 in the morning, my time here, saying that she'd arrived in Abu Dhabi and she was going to be there for 2 hours. So, you know, about 2 hours later, I kind of expected to get I'm boarding message, but it didn't come. And yeah, 3 hours after that, I got oh gee, I had my phone switched off for takeoff, and then I was reading a book for 3 hours. So yeah, that was a bit enlivening for the old Warbles. And so I set sail for town. And when I set sail for town, one of the first things I discovered on my way, when I came to the intersection of Yarraford Road and the New England Highway, you know, the deadly, wicked, evil, dangerous intersection that scares everybody because, you know, you've only got, at the perfect location, if you know where to stop, you can get 150 metres clear view to the south and maybe almost 90 metres to the north. And you've got to pull out onto a 100 kilometre an hour highway. So I get there and I find that the real estate agent's sign advertising a particular auction, which I personally pulled down at 7:15 on Saturday morning in the rain. And, you know, I cut all the cable ties and I threw the signs on the ground, and I pulled out 2 of the star pickets, and I stabbed them through the bloody corflutes. And the 3rd star picket, the one that was only 30 centimetres, right? 1 foot, 300 millimetres from the edge of the bitumen. It was wet and I couldn't get a good enough purchase on it to pull it out of the ground. So I fought with the bloody thing and I bent it at 90 degrees to the ground and laid it down sideways. Because I was really irate at the idea that somebody had stuck a sign up there to advertise their auction sale, and they were blocking the view from somebody whose eyeballs were at head height when you're sitting in your car and you pull out. I'll come back to that. So anyway, this morning when I went to town, goddamn bugger and fuck, that bloody sign was back there. So I drove into town and I was steaming mad. And one of the first things I did when I got to town was I visited the Roads and Maritime Services Authority. And I spoke to the painted secretary, and she picked up her mobile phone and played with the computer, and she rang somebody, and she told me that the man at the works office was going to leave in 5 or 10 minutes and go out there and have a look at it, because here in Australia, it's illegal to put advertising material between the farmer's fence and the farmer's fence in what they call the road reserve. And councils administer that in local council areas, and the Roads and Maritime Services Authority administers it on national highways. And I used to drink with a bloke whose job was road safety engineer, and every time he saw an illegal sign on the road reserve in the area that he was operating in, he used to stop and stick it in the boot of his car and go back to his office and fill in the paperwork and send the wicked evil criminal who put the thing there a bill for its removal. So, yeah, I went off feeling pretty happy with life and spent an hour and a half in town. And when I came home, golly gosh, gee darn and shucks, the sign was still there. So I got out and I got steaming hot, cranky, and I made a video with quite a few swear words. And anyway, I demonstrated videographically that if your eyeballs are in the only position that you can be in order to see 150 metres to the south instead of less than 70 metres to the south because of trees and grass and angle of the dangle and therefore thus and because, then this particular sign was capable of hiding a full-sized bus at 100 kilometres an hour, and you couldn't see it until it was maybe 20 metres away from the intersection. You know, this sign was a critically dangerous evil thing. Apart from the fact that it had 3 star pickets concealed inside of it, so that if a motorcyclist went off the road and hit the sign, you know, they were going to get mangled, and, you know, because the Roads and Maritime Services Authority didn't put the sign there, their insurance wouldn't cover it. So therefore, their insurance company would go looking for the particular real estate agent whose name was on the sign. Okay, so I went back to town. Not just because of that, because I'd forgotten to post a letter that, you know, my aged matriarch had asked me to post. And when I got to town, I went and I saw the same painted secretary, and she picked up the same phone, and she appeared to be having a conversation. And she told me, yes, it's fine. They are out there right now looking at that sign. This is after I showed her the YouTube, or the potential YouTube video. And I made a kind of a deal with her that, you know, if I got out there and the sign was gone when I got back, then I wouldn't post the YouTube video. And as I walked out of the office, I thought, you know, I think that painted secretary just lied to my face, either knowingly or unknowingly. Either she thinks I'm a fucking idiot because we've known each other for 20, 30 years since she first started working in the bank that I happened to bank with, or because she was lied to by the dickhead from the works office. So I thought, bugger this, let's work on old local effect. And I went down the road with my mobile phone in my pocket, all set up, ready to show the video if I had to. And I walked into the office of the real estate agent whose name was on the sign. And he was on the phone. So I stood there quietly, calmly, waited. And when he got off the phone, he says, "Oh, g'day, how you going? What can I do for you?" And I said, "Well, actually," and he said, "How are you?" And I said, "Well, actually, I'm pretty angry." And he said, "Why are you angry?" And I said, "I'm angry about illegal signs in the road reserve, and I feel like you're trying to kill me." And he asked me to explain, and I told him the whole story. And to his credit, he backed down immediately. He said that was absolutely wrong. He was sorry that it happened, and he was going to, as soon as he went to one meeting, he was going to go straight out there and pull the thing down. I said, "It's okay. According to the Roads and Maritime Services Authority, they've already got a crew on the job because I've been to them twice and I've showed them the YouTube movie. And, like, if it isn't down, then I'm going to post the video." And he said, "Yeah, it's cool. I'll do it. I'll do it." And he was, like I said, it's a small town. It's old local effect in operation here. He invoked my mother's name, and he, remembered me that he'd been the master of ceremonies at the fashion parade that my mother organised last year, and I remembered that and all. And then I, thought, okay, great. He won't really need to go out there because the government department responsible for the road reserve has been out there and they've removed the sign. And I drove home, and bugger me, the bloody thing was still there. Okay, so I deleted the first video because it had been really nasty, and I started making another video. And I went all the way through the video, and I was just about finished it when, behold, old mate from the real estate agent showed up in his car, and he went over there, and he was trying to break the cable ties, and he only had pliers. And I went over there and looked at him and watched him struggling, and he said he wished he'd got his pocket knife. And he was kind of surprised, A, that, me being a greenie, I had a pocket knife, and B, that I could open it one-handed and offer it to him, you see. Ain't it a pity that it takes two hands to close it? Because it's a lock knife. But anyway, yeah, he cut his cable ties off and he pulled his bits out. And I gave him an out. I said to him, "I understand you probably didn't put this sign here. This will have been done by some young, eager beaver, ambitious, little salesperson who's fixated on the idea of, trying to present the information to the public." And I didn't say to him, the concept of anybody at 100 kilometres an hour being able to pay attention to the pictures on the sign, because it was a photographic representation covering the whole of the corflutes with tiny weeny little writing, like maybe a centimetre high down the bottom, saying, who was having the auction and where and what the property was. You really had to be stopped to read it. I said, "You haven't done this, surely?" And he went along with that theory. So yeah, I got shots of him, showing up, pulling the sign down after I'd got shots of, what an evil bloody thing the sign was. And I explained it to him and, rubbed it in a bit. And then as I was walking away, I managed to do one, not quite the last, but the second last piece to camera. And I had the flaming zoom fully engaged. So all you got was, this little tiny frame in on my eyes and my nose. And when I got home, I looked at it and I thought, well, what's the point of uploading a video of that with a flaw in it? So I didn't upload the video. Instead, I made a video about why sometimes you don't need to upload a video. The mere threat of being able to post a video causes people to, pay attention, listen to the story, weigh the argument, decide, hey, Warble's on a lot. He's not as silly as he looks. At least that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Warble's on a lot to YouTube. Ciao. Arr.